I want to bring us literally back to the caveman days and kind of really tell that story where you really absorb it and think about it. So back in the caveman days, his environment, he didn't have natural lighting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had natural lighting, just the sun, right?
Right.
But in his cave at night, when he'd have to go lay down, he had nothing but maybe his fire, if he had fire. And then what other senses did he use to tell whether something was there around him that was dangerous?
Right.
You know, how did he know if danger was there? What's his first thing that he would notice?
Well, you feel something and he gets scared.
You feel something change or move. Now,
Mm-hmm.
our bodies, our vestibular system, and our auditory system, actually the first line of sensory is your auditory system. You can actually feel with your bony part of your hearing system when people are getting closer or things are getting closer to you. That's how you know when somebody's
Mm-hmm.
walking up but you never heard them. You feel them because you literally do.
Right.
The same way in utero, you know, the baby actually, first sensory thing he has is being able to hear. He hears through vibration. And so our caveman, if he's in his cave and we don't, we'll assume that the predator's not gotten in the cave, he's listening, he's hearing whether something is getting too close.
Right.
In our environments when we go out in public and whatnot, that's one of the culprits with overstim too, is that too much noise really can set that system into stress. And that's where we were talking about the other day, where it may be very beneficial to have just like a simple Walkman or a set of headphones that you can attach to your phone, where you can create a buffer by being able to listen to something purposeful that you want to listen to kind of fade how much of those extra things.
Mm-hmm.
At night, many people use buffers in their sleeping environments, like box fans. You'll hear people say, I can't go anywhere and sleep without bringing my box fan.
That's me.
Okay, so the box fan creates what we call white noise.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is it takes you away from listening for the
Right.
dinosaur or for the caveman from getting attacked.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the white noise is buffering the sound of something tiptoeing up on you, then it really lets your system calm down more. Okay, so that is one thing that we haven't talked about, but would be something to consider, is do you need something at night even just to kind of let yourself be more comfortable? The other thing that our caveman is doing when he's in there, when his sensory system is on guard, is noticing whether he feels something touch him. So once his system gets relaxed and he feels you touch him, of course, that's no different than the caveman going, oh crap, it's here and it's eating me now. You know, so him having that reaction to that, I love that he called it the caveman.
Yeah.
And you knew that his protective brain was going, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I like to, and I know it's rude sounding, but I like to say, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's what that part of the brain is saying. Oh shit, let's get the hell out of here. You're gonna die. Okay? It's what it's designed by nature to do. Every creature walking this planet has that same part of the brain, and it's literally to protect them and get them out of harm's way. And especially if you're trying to sleep and whatnot, that part of the brain, when it's firing and active, be aware.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we addressed in the last session was the reflex for when clothes are too tight, or everything feels too tight at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we worked on, and we'll do that when we go in there, on spinal galant, which also is part of the auditory systems driven by it, but it also is responsible for whether you feel like things are too tight.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's no different than the aggressive grip or the restriction.
Mm-hmm.
If you were, being eaten, I'll call it being eaten, So as he's giving you that feedback, be very respectful of it. It's not that he's being a baby. I've had hundreds of patients that I've dealt with, most especially ones with sensory and anxiety issues, that the first thing we addressed was getting the tactile sensitivity to be better.
Right.
The other piece of this is that that same auditory system shares a space with the vestibular system, the movement part. So we use our eyes to regulate and see when danger is coming. We use the auditory to do the same. The way our system is designed is to have a reflex that when our head turns, that both eyes move to let us easily scan
Right.
where we're going. So as we're doing our movement rolling on the wall, part of what his experience is, and part of what y'all are experiencing when y'all are in the car moving, is that that system, even though his eyes look like they're well aligned, the timing of the two, so there's one timing piece in each ear,
Mm-hmm.
the timing is just a little off, and so that's where we've seen the nystagmus.
Okay.
And so it's not incredibly difficult to improve, but we have to set rules. So our first rule is we want to work to the point of stim, but not overstimulation if we can prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And whatever our start place is, we will respect it. Okay? Now, our bodies are designed that, and I'll go back, y'all both dealt with horses.
She had, and I did when I was young.
Okay.
I've been around them.
Okay, so the inside of the brain for us and for the horse and whatnot, humans have what's called a corpus callosum, and it's where the information from one side of the brain travels to the other side and it's
Mhm.
shared back and forth. Horses don't have that. Okay, so if I take a horse and we look at his vision, what's cool about a horse is he can take this one eye and he can rotate it where he can see 180 degrees down his body to his peripheral vision back here. Okay, and then he can come all the way back here, but right in front of him he has a little space where if you're too close he can't see you. Okay, so if you're right in his face it creates stress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because he cannot see that space. Humans don't have that rotation ability, but we have peripheral vision, so the part of us going and doing the movement like this is literally on purpose to address the peripheral. For the horse, the other eye can rotate independently the same way. And Temple Grandin, she's autistic, but she's an adult autistic, and she really studies animals. That, you know, that's a gift of being autistic, is you can really pay attention to details
Mm-hmm.
that other people don't. Whichever way the ear is pointing is the way the horse is looking with whichever eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as we're activating and doing our rotation, as we move, the reflexes that I'm working on with rotation on the wall specifically are designed to make the eyes move towards the plane that we're looking for. The little lag that you see is that it's not happening at the same speed of the turn. For him, on Tuesday, when we did our session where we did body on wall rolling, which is exactly what he's saying, oh my God, I really am not looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Two things. Whatever we do in one direction that stimulates the movement of the eyes that way, when we go the opposite direction, it stimulates the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you and I, and sitting and watching him follow, which direction do you see where the eyes have to jerk when he's doing
When it's
exercises?
Going back to the arm.
Going towards the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Which side were you going when it made you the most nauseous the other day?
To the right.
To the right. Okay? And so imagine that, you know, alignment of the eyes as this is happening is being a little disrupted. Okay? And so when we do our movement rolling on wall, and this is, I'm landing the plane here, we want to start with movement to the side that is the one that's not the most comfortable, because when we go the other way and do rotation the other way, it's going to help calm that back down. Okay?
Okay.
you guys have noticed this is a really general example. When you go to drop off your son, the turns are one way and they don't bother you.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you turn the other way, oh, game on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the simple improvement is going the other way to calm it back down. The other thing we want to do today is we are going to go, I don't care if it takes us a whole minute of time for the rotation, we're going to slow the turn down all the way to where it doesn't make your stomach funky, okay? And what we're going to get you to do is help with the stopwatch timing of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do one rotation and just, we'll do it purposefully building off of that, okay? The body on wall exercise, did you haven't been here for that
No.
at all? I've got a handout for you that talks about it. I am not so concerned about how many rotations we can make down the wall, so
Mhm.
much as I'm concerned about us establishing a timing where he can tolerate it without overstim of the system, okay? So I did leave out one thing I need to get some tape and put an X on the floor. We established how slowly we need to turn, then we can break it down into even quarter turns. When I have little infants that we do this with babies also, except the parent holds them and we do rotation with them standing in an X.
Mm-hmm.
And what we use is a metronome to tell us how fast we're going. So I'll break it down where if I have an X on the floor or a plus on the floor, at each mark we'll be having it timed where you're going to go no faster than when you hear the click, you'll be on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And that lets us regulate the speed without going too fast. And so in our treatment note, it might say at 1 or 2 revolutions per minute, and then over time we're actually going to be looking for you to be able to do 20 revolutions in a minute without it overstimulating the system. That's the treatment goal for those systems, okay? Right now I would say we're probably more we might be really at 1, okay? And if that's where we are, that's fine. That's perfect, because where we are is where we are, okay? The other thing that we are going to do is we are purposely going to set a timer, and we are going to, right now until it's more controlled, we're going to purposefully have 3 minutes where we do nothing, okay? Just sit, rest, sip water, no extra stimulation, no extra heat or anything, and we're going to be respectful. And if you guys are doing these at home, I need the same agreement, okay? The nervous system we were talking about for our caveman, what does it want to do when it thinks it's being attacked? Get the hell out of here, right? It wants to rush. It wants to really go faster so we can get it over with. Go faster to get it over with is a mistake, okay? Slower so it doesn't overstimulate is what we want.
See, he, like on our way home from dropping off his son, he's so amped up, he tells me to hurry up. So I start swerving in and out of traffic, trying to hurry up and get him home so he can feel comfortable.
Yeah, what I'd like to look at with the route that you take to get home is whether we can actually look and see if there's even a few other, maybe a few extra turns involved in there, but a way that we can create where you don't get that immediate overstim.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Instead of us going by Walmart where that curve is, going down to like where CVS is, and you'd literally do a turn instead of a curve and stuff. You'd have to stop at a stoplight and stuff, but maybe that would help him not get so over.
And it may be that instead of bringing them all the way to our house, that you say, okay, let's have them meet us at this spot. I think it would be helpful if you guys can just kind of think through, and probably I asked him the address the other day, but then I didn't write it down, so I don't remember it. But if we can look at literally what your route is, then we can look at ways to give him a little more time before there's so many turns and I would say they're probably all right-hand turns that are really happening pretty quick after you leave that house.
Yeah, it's right after you leave the house. There's like 2 or 3 curves that you hit like that, and then you hit that big one before you get on the highway. And after I get on the highway, that's when he starts with my back hurts.
Is it the big loop getting onto I-10?
In Jennings, when you pass on the side of Walmart, it loops real hard.
So if we can even figure out a route where you didn't even have to go that way, more of a straight road. When I had, y'all know already that I had COVID back in December, like the first week I got COVID. And after my quarantine time, one of the things that we've noticed with people with COVID is they do get a little inner ear effect. Once we got out of quarantine, me and my mom went to the movie, and the 210 loop going towards I-10 over on the east side of Lake Charles, you know how coming down to feed to west, it has that curve? Rusty. I literally thought something was serious wrong because I got in that curve and it felt like my eyes got almost stuck. And then I'm like, oh my God, I had to pull off the road and just sit there and just really look off in the distance. And I know what's, but I was never thinking this would affect me from a sensory standpoint. And literally, the curve, the rate of speed in that curve was what was doing that to me. My eyes haven't done it since, but it's scary when it's happening, and it is a panic feel.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to disregard that at all. Okay. Let me grab and put some tape right here so we have a mark. Let me get a metronome app. Now, metronomes, I use, this one's called Metronome Beats. Let me go back to the front page so you can, so that's what the little icon looks like. And what it lets you do is set a tempo of what you want. And what we're going to want to do is 1 revolution in a minute, which is going to be extremely slow. But to do this, what we're going to do is set our tempo actually at 4. And 1 for each turn, each portion. And so, way down. So what this does for us, let me disconnect from the speaker, if I can. And they're probably in there going, what's that noise? Okay. So, now then. So as I start here, I'm going to just be turning slow, and I should not get to this point before I have my next beat, okay? And then I'm going to keep on going, not speeding up, not changing anything, but just trying to stay nice and slow where I'll be facing straight ahead on this one when I get to the next one. And you can see it really takes an effort to go that much slower, but this, in the beginning, we start with just 1 revolution per minute and work up from there, okay?
Okay.
And so there's the next one. And we get all the way around to this one, we'll be at 1 revolution. So really, really slowing it down where we don't have that overstimulation, okay? So that's going to be our first thing we're going to do right now. And so Rusty, you're going to stand right on the X, I'm gonna be here for support for you and help you turn, but you're not gonna turn any faster than what I just did. The inner ear part that we're working on, if we were to hold your head up like this, we would not have it be actively stemmed at all, okay? So looking down at the tape is going to be the piece we want to see. So head tilt down is part of what the system is going to be stimulated by. If he is out in public and he's walking, you'll probably see a lot of times he'll keep his head up instead of letting himself look down. As soon as he looks down, it's going to set it off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's have you stand. And I do have a gate belt for it, but we probably won't need it going this slow. Too much. It just needs to be enough so I don't pull your shirt off if you start to fall, or your pants. That wouldn't be cute.
No.
I know you like, you're probably commando too, so we really wouldn't want that.
Yeah, you don't want to see all that meat hanging.
Yeah, I can't handle it today. Don't show me what I can't have. Okay, so nice and slow. We're going to go ahead and keep your heads down. Okay. And keep turning. And I'm almost a little fast. I am fast, aren't I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, slow it down a little more. Now.
Still a little fast, huh?
Still just a little bit fast. Did that make you a little dizzy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And so, like I said, we're going to sit down and rest for a minute. And I'll get better at going slower. It is a process.
Mm-hmm.
But what we'll see is the recovery is going to be faster if we don't go above and beyond what he can tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me set and then I have my trusty timer. We're going to do 3 minutes of just pure rest. And what I want you to tell me, Rusty, is when you start to feel a little better. Okay, so I got a timer that's timing how long we've been resting, but also let him have sips of water, all those things. The other important factor we talked about the other day was if it's got you a little undercurrent, do you feel more comfortable looking over there, that way? Or is it more comfortable looking this way or straight ahead?
I'm confused.
Okay, so make your tummy better if I'm here?
Oh, okay.
Yes or no?
It's okay.
Okay, but if I come over here right now, right after you did that, does it kind of make it funky or is it okay?
Yeah, funky.
Funky. Okay, so you do not want to be over there. And then the other place would be, how's this feel? So straight ahead.
I'm at straight ahead.
And then probably not too close to you, right? Am I far enough away from you?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what you may not notice or see is that the alignment of his eyes is just a little tiny bit different than what is comfy. Okay. And so with that said, he doesn't have to look at you. He doesn't need to look in your direction, but he needs to be aware that if he's having that stem, looking over to the side makes it feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my adults, I really have to make them aware of it because they don't realize. They just feel funky. And then in a good scenario, even having a clear space 20 or 30 feet worth of looking out away from you even feels better. So we could put the chair where you can look that way if he wants and not have us. But if you're my autistic kids, if until they are aware that what's happening when this happens, they'll just start screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because their brain is saying, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And what I had to teach them is to say, move please.
Right.
But me be aware that putting myself in a certain spot aggravates it. Okay?
Well, I know when when I was having to feed him and stuff, he wanted me straight on,
Yes, so that's
not coming at him from the
Right.
side and stuff.
She wanna feed me with the spoon crooked.
Well,
I
I'm
felt
standing
like
to the side though, so I have to get in front so I can go straight.
I don't understand coming at with the spoon crooked when I'm looking at you like this. You spoon straight in.
okay. So that's our 3 minutes. Okay. And so what we're gonna do now is how do you feel?
Okay.
All right. And then this time we're gonna actually turn the other direction. No faster,
Mm-hmm.
but go in the other direction. Okay. That time we went towards the side that is the hardest. And what I anticipate us seeing is that when we go this way, it actually feels better too. Okay. And if you see him walk, very often you see him turning always to that side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same thing we were talking about with the sensory piece. And before we do it, I'm gonna go ahead and put your chair over here so that when you sit down, you won't have to be looking such a. I hadn't thought about it before. Okay. So this time we're gonna go that way. I got you there too fast. Okay, so a lot slower. Good, better that time.
Still a little bad.
Uh-huh. Okay, and then you're just going to sit down and rest. So 1 revolution per minute is still pretty fast for his system. But notice whether you feel better after this side a little sooner than the other. Reset our timer.
Need some more water?
Yeah. Got another bottle right here.
Yeah, like I was.
And let me know if, while you're following that with your eye, you get nauseous or anything. Does it feel okay?